Hello, my name is Erica, and this is my presentation based on photosynthesis and cellular respiration. So, I have a dog who loves to be very active. I like to take her to the park where she can run along and do whatever she wants. But for her to get that energy, she needs ATP, and for her to get that ATP, she needs food. Food gives animals energy, and most foods are made of carbohydrates, and these atoms to create foods come from the air we exhale known as CO2. Photosynthesis starts here. Plants begin to breathe this CO2 through their pores named the stromata, while drinks water through their roots to get the needed oxygen, hydrogen, and electrons to build carbohydrates. Plant cells contain a lot of chloroplast, and it's green due to the light absorption pigment named the chlorophyll. So for plants to get carbohydrates is that they need sunlight, they need CO2 and H2O to create glucose. So to break it down, to create this photosynthesis process, the plant needs to split H2O to get electrons from it, which is where the high energy of the sun comes to break it. Now, the chloroplast has the carbon, hydrogen, oxygen, and electrons to turn that CO2 gas to glucose, which over time it increases greater carbohydrates named cellulose, which is a fiber found in veggies, fruits, and etc. When animals eat these foods, that's where cellular respiratory comes in. Plants make starch, which we eat and breaks back into glucose. The mitochondria found in animal cells can turn glucose into ATP, which is energy. Since I love taking my dog to the park and play, she will need ATP to be active. Cellular respiratory is equation to make ATP. So here are the reactants and the products of the whole process of the cellular respiration. To get glucose, my dog would need to eat food that contains glucose. The first step is the glycolysis. Glucose is the sugar from the formula that converts to pyruvate, which needs ATP to create this. The net yield is 2 ATP molecules and 2 NADH molecules, which transfers electrons. The second step is the Krebs cycle, also known as the critic acid cycle, which involves in the mitochondria and requires oxygen. The pyruvate made before is converted to CO2 and it produces 2 ATP, 6 NADH, and 2 FADH. Now the third step, which is the electron transport chain, it is still located in the mitochondria. In this process, electrons are transferred from the NADH and FADH to electron carriers, which creates proton gradient, which powers the ATP synthase. This enzyme takes phosphates and adds them to ADP, and if a phosphate added to ADP, it makes finally ATP. The electron creates oxygen combined with 2 hydrogen protons, which creates water. And it creates water, and then this is where dogs can now be active by the ATP. So from all that process, they finally get the energy that they need to be active. Lastly, plants also have mitochondria to break down glucose. They make into ATP, which makes animals and plants connected. The air exhaled CO2 is used by plants to make carbohydrates that makes food. So it's basically a cycle. All of this is connected. So that is it. That is my presentation. I hope you liked it.